Everybody, Dean Young Home Tech Inspections. Told you guys I'd be doing a video on my background, experience, and so forth, so you guys can get to know me a little better. It helps to know people and their experience to make a decision with who you want to work with. And keep in mind there are others in the home inspection industry that have a lot more experience than I do. Either they've been inspecting long or their background is more extensive. So I'm not telling you my background to make myself sound like I'm the best and all that good stuff. I'm just letting you know my experience, my background, and you make a decision. Well, I'm the kind of person that you'd want to hire to do a home inspection. So generally, I started working when I was in my single digits out in tobacco fields, priming tobacco, stringing tobacco, hanging tobacco. At 7, 8, 9 years old, and I've always had a strong work ethic. Nothing in life is free, and you've got to work towards everything. You got to start at the bottom and slowly work yourself up. And a lot of times it takes half your life. Some people, you know, they fall into money, or they're born into money. And then nowadays, the younger generation, everything is carrying every little thing in a backpack, going to your little kiosk and your little job on your computers, making a ton of money doing internet stuff and Wi-Fi stuff and networking stuff and social media stuff and YouTube videos and the lazy way to earn money. I mean, that's great that you can do that, but what have you really put into it other than doing social media videos and all that good stuff? I mean, what are you going, if you're going to have kids, what are you going to have to show them? I mean, you're just going to just pay for everything in life to get through, have people do everything for you and not just know anything, just worry about just making the money and dying and not enjoying your life and doing something different and something you can appreciate and putting up your own ceiling fan or just fixing things and working with your hands and just that feeling, you know. But anyway, getting sidetracked. So I started out doing just stuff like that, tobacco and working on farms with my great uncle and stuff, hanging out with him at the sawmill, and thought it was so cool hanging out with him. And then as I grew up, I guess my real first job was at Stanley Steamer, not cleaning carpets, but cleaning toilets, sweeping floors, cleaning offices. I'd done that at 15 years old. Was doing that a couple of times a week, part-time. And then my other real first job was working at Neptune Seafood on West Market Street back in 1985. I was a bus boy and a dishwasher. It was a Greek fish house. Oh, so nasty dishes, and I made like $3 and something an hour. Believe it or not, $3 and something an hour. So I done that. Then I worked for Harris Teeter on Market Street, third shift, stocking. And then I was jumping around a lot of little jobs then. You know, you're that age, you know, you're just getting into it, and you just got to get a feel, and you just don't know what you want to do, and you just don't know. So I had several restaurant jobs. I worked at Rockola Cafe. I worked at, there was a place, some of you guys may know, back in the day, it was behind like Hardee's and the Big Star there, down near Friendly Hills. There was a restaurant place back in there. Cool little place. I can't think of the name of it. I'm sure somebody out there knows. But yeah, I worked there. I worked at Ryan's Steakhouse there on Market Street, where Sarah's Kebab Shop is now. It used to be a couple of different places there. So I worked there. There was another little restaurant place there on Market Street. We lived in Guilford College, so most of the places that I worked were around that area, restaurants and so forth. And then, let's see, I did do carpet cleaning. I was a carpet cleaner. I did work for a carpet cleaning company. Trying to think what else. Then I got into landscaping with a friend of mine. His parents owned a landscaping company and nursery. Excuse me, by this time I was 17, 18 years old, out shoveling mulch out of the back of a truck and planting shrubs, mowing yards. We were doing big commercial facilities. There was a place called Olympic. I believe it was called the Mattress Place, out near the Vandalia area. That place was huge. We used to mow that place. It took us almost a week to mow that place. So I done that. Then I got into doing apartment maintenance at 18, which was Hidden Lakes. People remember Hidden Lakes back in the day. I worked at Hidden Lakes. Was learning maintenance and groundskeeping, and my job was a porter. I followed a lot of the maintenance guys around and was learning stuff. Painting, putting up blinds, and doing small repairs. From Hidden Lakes, where did I go? I don't remember where I went from there, but I remember I went to, back in the day, Mike Jones, my man. What's the name of the place we worked at? Apartments out off of Church Street. Man, I can't think of the name of the place now. I got a block, but it was right off of Pisgah Church Street. That street that started with an M, goes straight down into the apartments. They had a indoor heated pool, jacuzzi tub, racquetball, tennis courts, indoor workout facility. This was in 1990, and I got an apartment out there at a discount because I worked there with my friend Mike Jones, who got me the job out there. And that's when I really started doing apartment maintenance and still groundskeeping. And quickly, I remember there was a water main that broke out there, and it was repaired. And me and Mike, it was 300, I believe it was 362 units out there. And me and Mike Jones, we went to every single apartment and had to take off the aerators, all the faucets that had aerators, and clean out the lines and reinstall new aerators because there was mud and stuff coming through. People were turning their water on. We told them not to. We had signs plastered all over doors, but you know, apartment complex, not everybody's going to listen. And we ended up replacing every aerator in every apartment. That was crazy. So we've been in every single apartment there. And then from there, I was there about 2 years, and they laid me off. And the same company, I found a job at Lakes Edge, which was on Market Street. I was assistant maintenance supervisor at Lakes Edge. So I worked at Lakes Edge, but I still lived in those apartments off of Church Street. I still got discounted rent, and so I worked at Lakes Edge for a little while, and then the property that I worked at previously, where I lived at, they had a position open in Charlotte for a maintenance supervisor. And Anna's mom, Jennifer, God rest her soul, she was pregnant with Anna at the time, and we moved down to Charlotte. I got a free apartment, 1,300 square feet. It was on the bottom level. 1,300 square feet was a nice size apartment. Had all the amenities, pool, workout, all kinds of stuff. Thing is, that property was about 400 and some units. It was only me and another guy. They needed to hire 2 other guys, but they wouldn't do it. So I was covered up. I was on call 24/7, 7 days a week. 400 units with one other guy that really didn't know much of anything. They fired their maintenance supervisor. I couldn't even go down the street to Walmart. I couldn't even go to the grocery store without getting a call. And the pager they had back then was one of those voice pagers where when they page you, you hear the audible voice. Dean, call me, you know. So you call the service center or whatever, and they give you the maintenance work order and all that over the phone, and it was always something. And so Jennifer was further along in her pregnancy, and we went to the Charlotte hospital, and they said, "Oh, you're fine. You're going to be another couple weeks." Well, that night her water broke. They wouldn't take her. It was Charlotte. It was like a military freaking hospital. They were awful in Charlotte. I did not like Carolinas Medical Center. You may have a different experience, but we did not. It was awful. So I called my mom, and she come down to Charlotte, and I told my people, "Hey, they're not taking us here in Charlotte. We're going to Greensboro." And my supervisor said, "You need to be back on this property within 72 hours, or you're terminated." So next day, I got a moving truck. My wife's at the hospital delivering our baby girl, and I'm worried about getting this moved. It was a crazy point in my life, crazy time. So I moved from Charlotte back to Greensboro, and my mom actually was living in the apartments that I used to live in, that I worked at off of Church, and we stayed with her for a little bit. And then we got an apartment over off of Friendly. I can't think of the apartments, dadgummit. But we moved in there, and I was working for Jennifer's mom. She used to print cigarette labels for RJR. She owned a big printing company, and we worked in a warehouse. It was doomy and gloomy and just awful in there, and working for family is no fun. It was awful, especially when they've got tons of money, and beach houses on Figure 8 Island, and just eat with gold forks, and you know, it was awful. It was awful. So that relationship deteriorated with my marriage, and so from there, I left the printing place, and we started doing contracting work. I was actually working, I moved to Charlestown Square. Yeah, we were living there when we moved there. We lived there at some point, but we're still married. We moved to Charlestown Square. We lived there, and I was working at Papa John's. I was a driver, and then I moved up to like the head lead driver, and then I was still doing some contracting on the side. I just started. This was 1993-ish, going close to 94-ish. And then they made me a shift manager, which I didn't really like. I didn't like being in the store. But I did make a lot of money at Papa John's, believe it or not, delivering. And their coverage area, their area at the time was a lot broader than it is now. That was over actually when they were beside, what's that place? Amore's Pizza and Subs there on Market Street. And then they moved over to, I think it was Stanley Road at some point. I never was there. But I was there, and then I started my contract and started picking up, and me and another guy kind of went in together. He eventually moved away and we split ways, and I was on my own. I was doing a lot of painting a lot of apartments, mainly just doing painting, and doing some carpentry repairs. And then as the years went on, I just got into more different stuff, just doing remodels and renovations, and doing HVAC. I used to do HVAC and got my CFC and all that, heating and air and all that stuff. Excuse me, from doing apartment maintenance. It was required. So a lot of certifications and stuff that I got was from doing apartment maintenance. I even got my dang it, I showed you guys the certificate, the fair housing thing. I've done how to do the fair housing course and all that, and get certified for that because I've done apartment maintenance. But anyway, so my contracting started picking up around 94, and I started doing contracting. And then at some point I got in with a couple realtors, and then word of mouth from realtor to realtor. And then I ran into some commercial clients, and then I started doing a lot of commercial stuff, a lot of branded companies. I used to have a slew of lists, probably this long, of branded companies. We're talking like Exxon, Walmart, Sam's Club, a lot of the stores at the mall. I've done a lot of work at the mall, like malls around North Carolina. I've done a lot of restaurant work, Chili's, Ruby Tuesdays. Used to do a lot of FRP upfits in the back of the house, restaurants, quarry tiling restaurants, like Boston Market, Fresh Market, all kinds of branded, popular, big commercial places, Shoe Carnival, Staples, TJ Maxx, a couple golf stores. I mean, just a slew of places. Pier 1 Imports. Done a lot of work for all these places. Just lists and lists and lists. Citco. It's like an endless list, it seems. I've done all that. Kmart. A couple other places. But anyway, a lot of them like to pay 30, 45 days. Just got to be a pain in the butt, especially when I do like a Chili's restaurant, working overnight, and I'm replacing the bathroom partitions, and that work is just, it's grueling. It's overnight. You got to do everything overnight and be done by a certain time when people come in the morning. You got to use fast setting materials. So when I'm doing tile and stuff, I mean, I got to get in as soon as these guys clean up. So you got to think they're wiping down the floors, they're still wet. They got to put the greaser and all this other stuff on there. It's havoc on doing tile repair jobs. So I hated doing a lot of those quarry tile and repair jobs, especially when you got to be done by 6, 7 in the morning.